To stop my mom from remarrying, I cornered my future stepbrother and forced a kiss on him. When it was over, William's dark eyes were intense. He grabbed my waist, pulling me into his arms. "What the hell, Clara? Are you just playing with me again?" I looked into his dark eyes and smiled, completely unfazed. I wrapped my arms around his neck. "So, are you going to let me?" William gave a self-deprecating laugh. "Yeah, why not? You can play me till I'm dead for all I care." In the lavish hall, a crowd of successful people in suits chatted away. My mother, Ms. Wilson, was on the arm of her business partner, or rather, her boyfriend, beaming. I sat in a corner, swirling the deep red wine in my glass, finding the whole scene incredibly ridiculous. Just last night, she was clutching a photo of my dad, drinking all night in the living room of our villa. The wine in my glass slowly disappeared. I gathered the hem of my luxurious dress and went upstairs. I pushed open the door to a private room on the second floor. Inside, a few rich kids were scattered around, some playing cards, others drinking. William was leaning against the pool table, stroking a cue stick. He paused when I walked in, his dark eyes fixing on me. I took a deep breath, put on a polite smile, and met his gaze. I walked slowly toward him. "William, I need to talk to you." William's face darkened as he turned away, pointedly ignoring me. He bent over and went back to his game of pool. I casually leaned against the table next to him, blocking his shot. "Brother, you don't seem too happy to see your future little sister." William straightened up, his dark eyes filled with a cold glint. He looked down at me, his voice frigid. "Move." I ignored him, my smile growing wider. I reached out and hooked my arm around his neck, forcing him to bend down. "Don't be so mean, brother. You'll scare me." His body tensed. Then, a cryptic smile played on his lips. He slowly put down the cue stick. His large hand settled on my waist, and he effortlessly lifted me onto the table, placing his hands on either side of my legs. He had me wickedly trapped in his arms. "Clara, I don't think this is how a sister should be positioned with her brother." My eyes darted to the onlookers who were enjoying the show. William got the hint. Without turning his head, he said, "Close the door on your way out." A moment later, it was just the two of us in the huge room. "William, my mom is going to marry your dad." He replied nonchalantly, "I know, sis." He practically spat out the last word. I slowly tightened my grip on his neck and leaned in closer. "But, brother, I don't want them to get married." I added, "I really, really don't." My lips were only an inch from his. William's throat bobbed. He glanced down at my red lips, a cold smirk forming. "So what do you plan to do about it?" The moment he finished speaking, I pressed my lips to his and skillfully parted his teeth. His hands suddenly gripped the edge of the pool table, veins popping on his pale skin. When the kiss ended, I was panting, my voice trembling as I spoke. "William, can we get back together?" William's face was as dark as it could get, his eyes looking like he wanted to eat me alive. All my earlier boldness had vanished after kissing him. I shrank back, a little scared. He stared at me without a word, and a sense of dread washed over me. "Well? Is that a yes or a no?" I asked anxiously. William's handsome brows knitted together. He squeezed my waist, forcing out a laugh through gritted teeth. "Clara, you really treat me like your damn dog, don't you? Dump me when you feel like it, and now you want me back just like that." My hand on the back of his neck tightened instinctively. I bit my lip. "I'm serious. If you don't want to, then forget it." I started to get off the table. But he forcefully pulled me back up. Just like before, he held me firmly in his arms. Then, a storm of kisses fell upon me. His hand clamped down hard on the back of my neck, forcing me to tilt my head up and open my mouth for him. His kisses were always possessive and rough. He stole the air from my lungs. My whole mouth was filled with the taste of him. I couldn't take it anymore and let out a couple of whimpers. But he showed no sign of letting go. Finally, I went limp against his shoulder, and only then did he reluctantly release me. After catching my breath, I saw he had no intention of letting me go. With tears in my eyes, I clutched the fabric of his shirt. My lips, swollen from the kiss, parted. "Didn't you say no? What's all this, then?" He scoffed. "Treat you like my dog? And just let you walk away?" He said that, but I knew he was wavering. Seeing him trying to act tough, the knot in my chest loosened, and I smiled freely. I reached up and hooked my arms around his neck again. "So, William, are you still going to let me play with you?" The hand on my waist tightened maliciously. It hurt a little. Suddenly, the hand on my back pulled me into his embrace. William buried his face in my neck and let out a self-deprecating laugh. "Yeah, of course. I'll let you play me to death." William held my hand and we walked downstairs openly. Seeing the astonished look on Ms. Wilson's face, I smiled even more brightly. I had achieved my goal. On the way back, my mom and I sat in the back of the Bentley. Neither of us said a word. As the car drove over an empty overpass, my mom finally couldn't contain her anger anymore. She told the driver to stop the car in a cold voice. "Yes, Ms. Wilson." Ms. Wilson glanced outside. The driver, getting the hint, quickly got out of the car. "When did this start?" I knew what she was asking. "The year I turned 18, I said calmly. "The guy you forced me to break up with was William." "When did you get back together?" "Just now." Disbelief was written all over my mom's perfectly made-up face. "This is ridiculous." I looked at her and gave a helpless smile. "Yeah, I'm being ridiculous. Are you going to pack me up and ship me off to another country again?" My mom's face stiffened. She took a deep breath. "Clara, you're grown up now." "That's right. I'm grown up. I won't listen to you anymore. Break up with him. Getting back together just to spite me is pointless." "No." The car was silent for a moment before she uttered the words I was sick of hearing. "I'm doing this for your own good." I laughed at myself. For my own good? Changing my college major without asking and sending me abroad was for my own good? Making me take dance lessons as a kid when you didn't even know if I liked it, then forcing the dance company to fire me so I'd have to come back home, that was for my own good, too? And now, getting ready to remarry without even asking if I want a new father, that's also for my own good? My mom's brows furrowed tightly. "Clara." I leaned back against the seat, exhausted. "Mom, you don't even like him. Why do you have to marry him?" After saying that, I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. I pushed open the car door and got out. The driver, Eric, saw me and smiled. "Mississippi Eric, just take my mom home." He nodded, then got back in the car. The car followed slowly behind me. The window was down, but in a tacit understanding, neither of us spoke. Seeing I had no intention of getting back in the car, my mom finally said in a cold voice, "Eric, let's go. Don't worry about her. If she wants freedom, give it to her. She'll only appreciate our good intentions after she's learned the hard way." I knew she was saying it for me to hear. But I've always let words like that go in one ear and out the other. I watched the car's taillights disappear. I sank down helplessly at the base of the overpass railing. I took off my high heels and sighed. But I felt incredibly relieved. This was the first time I had pushed back against her suffocating love and won a moment of freedom. I hugged my knees, staring blankly at the neon lights on both sides of the river for a long time. Before long, I heard a siren behind me. A middle-aged police officer cautiously approached me. "Hey kiddo, what's wrong?" I looked up and pouted. "Had a fight." "You're not thinking of doing anything rash, are you?" I shook my head. He let out a sigh of relief. The officer asked for a family member's phone number. I rattled off William's number from memory. The call connected a moment later. The officer had the phone on speaker, and a low voice came through. "Hello? There's a young lady on the overpass. Is she your girlfriend? You need to come pick her up." "Clara?" The officer pointed the phone at me. I nodded. "Yeah, that's her. Come get her, quick. It's not safe for a young girl to be out here alone. I don't know what kind of boyfriend you are." A few moments later, a black Maybach pulled up behind the police car. The officer pointed. "Is that the guy?" I watched the man get out of the car and nodded. As William walked over, the officer looked him up and down. Then he spoke with disapproval. "You look like a decent young man. How could you just leave your girlfriend on the side of the road after a fight?" William's dark eyes fell on me, and he laughed in exasperation. "I left you here?" I blinked innocently. The officer continued grimly, "Listen, kiddo, you're a pretty girl. If he ever treats you like this again, just dump him. If you can't find anyone better, come to the station and find me. We've got plenty of single young guys there." I smiled and nodded. "Thank you." To prevent the officer from saying anything else, I quickly grabbed William's hand and explained, "It wasn't my boyfriend who left me here." The officer shook his head, exasperated. I know. You young girls are all, what's it called, head over heels for love. Always defending the bad boys." William wasn't annoyed. Instead, he smiled and agreed, "I understand, officer. It won't happen again." All right, you two head home," the officer said with a wave of his hand. Once in the car, I curled up in the passenger seat. William leaned over to buckle my seatbelt. "You fought with your mom?" I nodded. "Yep. I was really brave for you. She told me to break up with you, but I refused and we had a huge fight." "Well, I'm truly flattered." William grabbed a blanket from the back seat and covered me with it. "Should I take you home?" I shook my head, looking pitiful. "I'm running away from home." He chuckled helplessly. "All right, then. I guess I can reluctantly take you in." William took me to a spacious high-rise apartment in the city center. He taught me the key code at the door twice before leading me inside. But once inside, I felt a little awkward. I sat stiffly on the sofa. After a while, William came out of a room with a clean bathrobe for me. He pointed to a room. "You can sleep there tonight?" I nodded and took it. I took the bathrobe into the room and closed the door. I slipped out of the expensive gown and went into the bathroom to wash up. As soon as I went in, William left again. In the elevator, William's father called. "Your auntie," he wanted to ask if Clara is with you. William gave a quiet "Take good care of her. Don't you go bullying her." "You don't have to tell me that." There was a choke on the other end, followed by a moment of silence. Then he continued, "Dad has a question for you." "Go ahead." "So, that time when you were 18, you were heartbroken and locked yourself in your room crying for 2 days. The girlfriend who dumped you, that wasn't Clara, was it?" William's face darkened, and his voice dropped. "Dad, your memory is a little too good." His dad chuckled. "Hey, I'm not the one falling into the same trap twice. What are you getting all defensive for?" With that, he hung up. When I came out of the shower, the huge apartment was eerily quiet. I thought William had left. But a little while later, he came back carrying several bags. His eyes naturally fell to my bare feet. He bent down and took a pair of slippers he'd bought at the store out of a shopping bag and placed them at my feet. I looked at the white fluffy slippers. "I thought you left." William didn't answer. He pulled a set of disposable underwear and clothes from another bag and handed them to me. I took them, my face turning red. I quickly ran back into the bedroom to put them on. When I came out, I saw him holding a hairdryer and beckoning to me. I naturally sat down on the stool in front of him. He stood behind me, but for a long moment, he didn't move. I turned around suspiciously to hurry him along. "Hurry up and dry it." But I saw him looking down at me with a playful smirk. I followed his gaze downward and my face instantly flushed. I angrily covered my chest, glaring at him. "Don't look." Then I punched his rock-hard abs. He stood his ground and just scared. "If you don't want me to look, then wear your clothes properly. I'm not exactly a perfect gentleman." I was wearing his bathrobe. He was a good head taller than me, so it looked loose and baggy on me. That punch I threw at his stomach just now made my own fist ache. As he was drying my hair, I curiously poked his abs again. He paused and turned off the hairdryer. He bent down to look me in the eye. "Getting handsy, are we, Clara?" I mumbled irritably, "You already saw everything. I can't even poke your abs." "You're so petty." William burst out laughing. He cupped my cheeks and bent down to give me a peck on the lips. "I'd let you press my abs against your face, babe." I smiled mischievously. "Really? Can I?" William put down the hairdryer, took my hand, and guided it under his shirt. He raised an eyebrow, looking down at me. "Wanna try?" He slid my hand under his shirt. The feeling under my fingers made the smile on my face freeze. Realizing he was serious, I tried to pull my hand back, but I couldn't budge it. I shrank back, a little scared. Okay. I won't touch." William's lips curved upwards in a wicked grin. "What's this? You've grown up, but you've gotten so timid." I was speechless and shoved him irritably. But I accidentally pressed against little William. William grunted, his brows furrowing. Seeing his pained expression, I snatched my hand back in surprise. "If I said that was an accident, would you believe me?" William looked at me, grinding his teeth. "Clara, are you trying to ruin your future happiness?" I bit my lip. I really didn't mean to. A moment later, I glanced down and saw it slowly changing. I got scared. It's swelling up." William looked down, let out a soft tsk, and covered my eyes with his hand. I asked with some concern, "Are you okay?" His voice was a bit hoarse, and his tone was harsh. "I'm fine. Shouldn't we go to the hospital? I mean, this is pretty important." He let out a helpless little laugh. He leaned in close to my ear, his warm breath tickling the soft skin behind it. He lowered his voice. "It's not swollen. It's just excited. Understand?" My mouth fell open as I instantly understood what he meant. I pushed his hand away, my face beet red. "You're being a pervert." William chuckled, looking down and adjusting the collar of my bathrobe. "Babe, this isn't being a pervert. This is an involuntary reaction." By now, my earlobes were so red they felt like they were about to drip blood. You better not try anything." William sighed and gave me a light flick on the forehead. "Don't worry. I'm more worried you'll have your way with me and then leave me high and dry." He added, "After all, a man's virtue is very important." I rubbed my forehead in pain. "You're so petty and you hold a grudge." He patted my head. "All right, go to your room and sleep." He took a step back. I glanced at the bulge in his pants and unconsciously swallowed. Before I could finish, William interrupted with a wicked smile. "What? You want to help me?" I didn't even get a word in. He glanced at me and added, "In your dreams." Then he turned and went back to his room without a second look. It was only when his bedroom door closed that I came back to my senses. I sullenly got up and went back to my room. Lying in bed, my mind was filled with the sensation of touching William's abs. My thoughts started to stray. When I realized it, my heart felt like it was going to leap out of my chest. I patted my own flushed cheeks. I mentally scolded myself for being so pathetic. I tossed and turned until the middle of the night before I finally fell asleep. In the morning, while I was still groggy, William pushed open the door to call me for breakfast. I refused to get out of bed. He sighed, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and closed the door, letting me sleep in. Who would have thought I'd end up sleeping until noon? After washing up, I opened the door and saw William, shirtless, running on the treadmill. A powerful, toned waist and a strong back were right there in front of me. Hitting me with this intensity right after I woke up was a bit of a low blow. It was seriously against the rules. I cleared my throat awkwardly. Hearing me, William stopped the treadmill. He wiped the sweat from his neck with a towel. He walked towards me, still shirtless. I pathetically stared at his 8-pack abs, completely mesmerized. Seeing my pathetic state, William just shook his head helplessly. "Keep staring and I'll have to charge you." I shot him a glare. I muttered under my breath, "Fine, I won't look." Just then, my stomach let out an embarrassing growl. "Hungry?" I nodded. "Want to eat out or eat in?" I pointed to the bathrobe I was wearing. "I don't have any other clothes. Let's just eat here." A little while later, the takeout arrived. Looking at the delicious-smelling food, my mouth started watering. I sat obediently at the dining table, waiting for William. When he came out of the shower, he went to the dryer and pulled out a dress for me. I looked at the dress, a little surprised. "Whose is this?" He explained patiently, "I saw it at the store last night and bought it for you. I washed it, so you can wear it now." I breathed a sigh of relief. I thought he was giving me someone else's used clothes. The dress was a white slip dress, probably one he bought in the sleepwear section of the store. The size was about right. The straps were thin, looking like they could slip off with a slight tug, which seemed a bit risky. But it was much more comfortable than that ridiculously oversized bathrobe. After changing, I trotted out, ready to eat. His dark eyes looked me over, and he said nonchalantly, "Looks a little small." My hand holding the bowl paused. Now that he mentioned it, the chest padding did feel a little tight. I looked down and my face instantly turned red. Then, with a wicked smile, he added, "Next time, I'll take your measurements before I buy you a new one." My face got even redder. I put a chicken wing in his bowl and shot him a glare. "Just eat your food." In the afternoon, I was sitting on the sofa playing on my tablet. There was a loud knocking at the door. I got up to open it and saw our family's butler standing there with large and small bags. Ms. Wilson asked me to bring your clothes, phone, and laptop. She also said that since you want freedom, she'll give it to you. However, you must join the company. That part is non-negotiable." After saying that, he left. I thought about what he said and the fact that my things were delivered. It seemed like Ms. Wilson had accepted William as my boyfriend. I happily carried my things inside. I turned around to see William leaning lazily against the entryway. He said in a particularly annoying tone, "This doesn't look like running away from home. It looks more like getting kicked out." "Yeah. I've been through fire and water for you. Shouldn't you be singing me a song about how love conquers all right now?" He chuckled softly. He took the things from my hands. Then he lifted me onto the shoe cabinet, his large hand stroking the soft flesh of my waist. He buried his head in my neck and nuzzled me. "You're not going to leave again, are you?" I put my hands on the back of his neck, my fingertips stroking his short hair. "Go where?" "Leave me," his voice was muffled. The way he was acting made me feel a little sorry for him. I slowly cupped his face and looked at him very seriously. I said solemnly, "William, I'm not leaving. I'm never leaving again, and I'll never leave you again." Am I dreaming? I leaned down and bit his neck. My teeth gnawed at him, not too hard, not too soft. "Does it hurt?" William shook his head. I bit down a little harder. "How about now?" The hand on my waist tightened. I heard him let out a deep groan. I slowly sat up. "If it hurts, you're not dreaming, you idiot." He smiled in relief. "Yeah, I'm not dreaming." Then he possessively cupped the back of my neck. He bent down and crushed his lips against mine. My whole body was enveloped in his embrace. His kiss was urgent and demanding, leaving me breathless. But I didn't want to push him away at all. Until my body went limp in his arms. He reluctantly let me go. But he still held me tight. His hard body was pressed against me. I was only wearing a thin slip dress to begin with. During the kiss, the thin straps had already slipped off my shoulders. My chest was starting to hurt from the pressure. William bent down and kissed my shoulder. I blinked, waiting for his next move. But nothing else happened. I saw him restrain himself as he hooked the fallen strap back to where it should be. I looked down at the little William pressing against my thigh. Then I looked up at Big William. And then? William saw right through me and chuckled. And then what? Babe, what kind of indecent thoughts are you having about me? My face instantly turned beet red. That same evening, my mom sent me the new employee onboarding documents. Actually, joining the company wasn't so bad. After all, He Corporation was worth a lot of money. Who wouldn't want to be a rich woman? I poked William, who was watching TV next to me. When you first joined your family's company, what was your position? William answered nonchalantly, General Manager. Hearing that, I suddenly started looking forward to work. William shook his head helplessly. Good luck with that. That night, I dreamed I would be a powerful, awe-inspiring career woman. But the next day, my dream was shattered. The position my mom arranged for me was her executive assistant's assistant, with a monthly salary of $3,500. The huge contrast left me sighing at my desk all morning. As for why I only sighed all morning? Because by the afternoon, I was already running around like a headless chicken. When William came to pick me up, it was like seeing a ray of hope. I excitedly pulled open the car door. The first thing he said was, "Well, little Mississippi. You look like you're having a great time at work." I pouted and leaned back in the seat, forcing a bitter smile. Do you know how much a little Mississippi makes a month? William turned his head and said without thinking, $2,800. I gritted my teeth and pinched him. It's $3,500. He let out a wow. That's amazing. You can support me in the future. Even though I knew he was just teasing me, I still puffed out my chest proudly. When I get paid, I'll treat you to a big dinner. I'd be so lucky. To make sure my $3,500 salary wasn't docked, William woke up early and stayed up late to drive me to and from work every day. After half a month of this, even my mom couldn't stand it anymore. Clara, you're making $3,500 a month and you have a personal chauffeur? This was the first time she had spoken to me voluntarily since our Cold War began. I immediately went over, shamelessly cozying up to her. Mom. Your son-in-law is pretty great, right? My mom pushed me away in disgust. Hurry up and go. He's been waiting for a while. I giggled. Roger that. I immediately scurried off to the car. Despite all the arguments, a mother and daughter are still a mother and daughter. After work today, the National Day holiday week started. After slaving away for half a month, I was finally on vacation. During dinner, I took a bottle of red wine from William's cabinet to celebrate. But I didn't expect the sweet, fragrant wine to have such a kick. Not long after dinner, I was curled up on the sofa, feeling dizzy. When William finished cleaning up the dishes, he came out and saw my flushed, dazed face. He shook his head helplessly. He walked over and pinched my cheek, saying with mock disgust, "You little drunk." I took the opportunity to wrap my arms around his neck and give him a sweet smile. William. I pulled on his neck, forcing him to bend down. He stumbled and ended up pinning me underneath him. I took the chance to plant a kiss on his cheek and nuzzled him affectionately. William, I like you so much. He froze for a second, then slid his hand to my lower back. He lifted me up in one smooth motion. I was sitting securely on his lap. I wrapped my arms around his neck, facing him. Babe, are you confessing your love to me? I nodded and smiled. Yep. His dark eyes stared at me without a word. I looked at his thin lips and swallowed, feeling a bit parched. So I reached out and touched his lips, gently tracing their shape with my fingertip. "William, I want to kiss you." His hand on my lower back pulled me closer. In an instant, our lips were only half an inch apart. William's Adam's apple bobbed slightly. He agreed in a low voice. Satisfied, I leaned down and kissed him. But the guy seemed to be doing it on purpose, clenching his jaw so tightly I couldn't get through. I pouted, feeling wronged. "You're mean." "How am I mean?" "You won't open your mouth." He chuckled softly. "I'll open it." "Kiss me again." I looked at him skeptically, cupped his face, and leaned in for another kiss. His lips parted slightly, teasingly leading me into a deeper entanglement. This time, the kiss was gentle and comfortable. I was so lost in it that I didn't want to let go. I held him tighter, desperately wanting to be closer to him. Unconsciously, his long fingers slowly slipped under my dress. He squeezed me gently, on and off. I whimpered and sat up. I pressed his wandering hand down and looked at him, biting my lip. He lowered his gaze and pulled his hand out. "Sorry." He even thoughtfully straightened my dress. I was wearing a silk slip dress. During our struggle, the straps had already fallen pitifully onto my shoulders. William reached up, preparing to fix my collar. His fingers had just hooked the strap. When I stopped him, he tried to pull his hand back helplessly. But I slowly moved his hand to my chest. I looked at him pitifully. "Here, too." William's hand froze. "Are you serious?" I nodded. "Go ahead and touch it. It's really soft." His Adam's apple bobbed up and down, his voice raspy. "No." His tone was harsh, and I pouted, feeling hurt. "You think I'm too small." He shook his head helplessly and patted my back with his other hand. "I don't think you're small." "Then touch it." His eyes darkened. His stiff hand covered it, not too hard, not too soft. His grip tightened. "Babe, you're going to be the death of me." I bit my lip and let out a soft moan. The next second, a storm of kisses fell upon me. He kissed his way down, finally stopping at the half-hidden cleavage of my neckline. He buried his head and kissed me, his teeth grazing my pale skin, making it hurt a little. I squirmed and pushed him lightly. He paused and slowly looked up. He gave my butt a light smack. "Don't move," he said fiercely. He squeezed the hand on my waist slightly. The next second, I felt, I really didn't dare to move. I swallowed nervously. "Babe, are you still going to mess around?" I instinctively shook my head. Then slowly nodded. He let out a soft tsk. He gave my waist a little pinch. "If you keep this up, I really won't be able to take it." I bit my lip and asked softly, "Is it uncomfortable? Do you want me to help you?" William's mouth fell open in disbelief, then a wicked smile spread across his lips. "Aren't you scared?" I bit my lip and shook my head. "Of course not." He lifted me with one arm under my butt. His other hand held my calf. "Wrap your legs around my waist, or you'll fall." I nodded obediently. He carried me to the bathroom counter and set me down. He pulled his shirt off over his head. Suddenly, a powerful, muscular body was in front of me. My heart felt like it was going to beat out of my chest. An adult male body, full of a hormonal scent. It made me feel incredibly safe. A little while later, I looked at my dress, furious. He leaned down and kissed my lips, his fingertips stroking the red marks he'd left. His voice was impossibly gentle. "I'll wash it for you later." I huffed. "Wash me, too." "I'm a little uncomfortable right now." William sighed. "Babe, you're going to drive me crazy. Are you going to wash me or not?" "Wash yourself." His tone was firm. Seeing his flushed cheeks, I decided to compromise. I hooked my arms around his neck, a wicked smile on my face. Then you go wash. I'll watch you. His hands paused, and he pinched the soft flesh of my waist in exasperation. Clara, when did you get such a wicked heart? My calf brushed against his. In the end, he couldn't do anything about me. He turned on the shower right in front of me. I have to say, watching a man shower is pretty hot, especially one with an inverted triangle build and an 8-pack. A body like that is just top tier. Living under the same roof for so long, with such a fine specimen flaunting himself in front of me every day, it's a lie to say I haven't had some thoughts. It's just that this guy always stops just short. He's as wary of me as if I were a wolf. Even when I'd hug a pillow and try to sleep with him, he could turn me away without batting an eye. It made me so mad I could grind my teeth. The sound of the water pulled my thoughts back. I met his scorching gaze. A wicked smile played on William's lips. A moment later, he turned his back to me. It was all a bit too much. I couldn't take it, so I turned my head away, my face beet red. After his shower, William carried me back to my bathroom. He silently stripped me of my clothes. I thought what I had been waiting for was about to happen. But instead, he just took my clothes and walked out, completely unfazed. He even thoughtfully closed the door for me. I sat in the bathtub, grinding my teeth in frustration. Great. Another failure. I washed up, feeling dejected. After my shower, I went out and saw William, shirtless, bent over the sink, diligently washing my clothes. I leaned against the door, watching this domestic man. I secretly vowed to try harder next time. To devour him completely. He seemed to sense my thoughts. He turned his head slowly, a smile playing on his lips. Clara, you're drooling. You should think about fewer inappropriate things. Caught red-handed, I glared at him. William, one day you'll be begging me. He nodded. So what? If you don't marry me, I won't let you touch me. My mouth twitched. I silently cursed him for being so old-fashioned. I stormed back to my room. The next day, I woke up with a pair of dark circles under my eyes. I don't know if it was because last night was too exciting or if the alcohol made me too hyper. I just couldn't fall asleep. I only managed to drift off in the middle of the night. And when I woke up, I saw William, shirtless again, humming a tune as he flipped something in a pan in the kitchen. Look but don't touch. When he saw me come out, looking exhausted, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Babe, you seem pretty resentful. I forced a fake smile and huffed. Suddenly, a drop of bright red landed on the back of his hand. My eyes widened in disbelief. I quickly covered my nose with my hand. For a moment, I wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Before William could react, I turned and fled back to my room. I leaned against the door, panting. My reputation was ruined just like that. Ah. This is so embarrassing. I can't be so thirsty that I'd get a nosebleed, right? But I couldn't get the image of William showering in front of me out of my head. I really brought this on myself. I rushed to the bathroom to clean the blood off my face. A moment later, there was a knock on the door. I pulled the door open, poked my head out, and said fiercely, "What?" A playful smile was on William's lips. "I made you some chrysanthemum tea to cool you down." "I don't need it." I slammed the door shut with a bang. When I didn't come out for a while, William had to open the door himself. He saw me sulking in bed. He came over and gave me a kiss. I glared at him. "You were just laughing at me." He shook his head helplessly. "I wasn't laughing at you. I just didn't realize I was so charming." I clutched the hem of his shirt. "I just didn't sleep well last night, that's why my nose bled." "It's not what you think." His eyes crinkled with a smile as he pinched my cheek. You just didn't sleep well." "I really didn't sleep well." I emphasized again. He chuckled softly. "I really believe you didn't sleep well." Get up and eat, then you can sleep some more. I nodded, snuggled in his arms. In the afternoon, William's childhood friend was having a grand opening for his bar and called to ask him to come show his support. I hadn't been out for fun in a long time. Hearing this news, my eyes instantly lit up. To be honest, in all my life, I'd never been to a bar. Back in school, my mom's need for control was off the charts. She had a driver pick me up and drop me off every day. Weekends were spent at dance practice. Later, she sent me abroad. But I heard that bars overseas were dangerous, full of all sorts of shady people. I was a coward, so no matter how curious I was, I never dared to go. Now that I finally had the chance, I had to seize it. Before we left, William laid down 3 rules. No chugging drinks. And even if you do drink, you come home, take a shower, and go to bed quietly. No acting cute to get your way with me. I held up 3 fingers and nodded emphatically. I promise, I will absolutely not get drunk and act crazy. Only then did he nod in satisfaction. Go get ready. I specifically chose a short, black slip dress from the closet. I heard that's what people wear to bars. When William saw it, he grabbed the back of my neck and unceremoniously hauled me back into the room. Change. I pouted. This one looks good. If you bend over, your butt will show. You can wear it at home, but not out. I lifted the hem of the skirt to show him. I'm wearing safety shorts. I explained stubbornly. In the end, he couldn't win against me and sighed helplessly. He let me wear it. I was at the entrance, changing into my high heels. He stood with his arms crossed, leaning against the door and sighed. Can you change the shoes? You're going to twist your ankle. I looked down at the new red-soled heels on my feet, the tops glittering with tiny rhinestones. The heels were high, but they were just so beautiful, and I hadn't found a chance to wear them yet. I hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided that beauty was most important. No, these are pretty. William squatted down helplessly. He tied the straps for me. If you fall later and can't go to work, don't come crying to me when your $3,500 salary gets docked. I huffed. He underestimated me. William's friend's bar was huge. A DJ was blasting music on stage. The ladies at the table next to us had ordered several male dancers. My gaze was inevitably drawn to them. On my third glance toward the next booth, I was caught red-handed. William leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Babe, should I order a few for you too?" I shakily pulled my gaze back. And forced a laugh. No need to spend the money. He gritted his teeth and pinched my cheek. Look again, and you'll be sorry. My eyes lit up. What kind of sorry? He choked, then laughed in exasperation. I'll put it on your tab. I'll collect on it, little by little, later. The bar's MC had barely started warming up the crowd when William pulled me away. I pouted, not having had my fill of fun yet. Can we come back again? William looked at me. I'll add your mom on WhatsApp when we get home. I shrank back in fear. Fine, we won't go. Why are you acting like a little kid, threatening to tattle? He huffed and ignored me. I tugged on the hem of his shirt. What? I spun around in front of him smugly. I got all dressed up today. I don't want to go home so early. Can we go for a walk? William nodded, looking down at my high heels. Don't your feet hurt? I looked down. They did hurt a little. But a woman as mighty as an eagle cannot bow her head. So I said with a straight face, they don't hurt. Not at all. And then, he drove me to the supermarket. Completely ignoring my pent-up frustration. He pushed the cart ahead, and I followed sullenly behind. He was carefully selecting meat from the refrigerated section. He chatted with me off and on. How about I make you pork ribs tomorrow? I gritted my teeth and said fine. Anything else you want to eat? You. And then he pretended not to hear me, completely ignoring me. At the checkout, I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed a bunch of condoms from the display and threw them into the cart. William raised an eyebrow at me. Put them back. I stood with my hands on my hips and said defiantly, "Can't I collect them?" He nodded. Sure. After we got home, he deliberately took the colorful boxes out of the shopping bag. He said smugly, "Should I find an acrylic box for you to display them?" I huffed, hugged the pile of boxes, and ignored him. I took off my shoes and padded barefoot back to my room. After I slowly washed up, I stuffed one into every pocket of my pajamas. I bravely knocked on William's door. Tonight, I was going to get my revenge. When William opened the door, his hair was still wet. He must have just showered too. "I'm sleeping with you tonight." He stood with his arms crossed, blocking the door. "No. Go back to your own room." I gritted my teeth and threw my arms around his neck. I jumped onto him. He instinctively caught me. He patted my back helplessly. "Playing dirty, are we?" I buried my head in his neck and mumbled a yes. I whined in a soft voice, "I just want to sleep next to you." He sighed, turned, and carried me to his bed. "Sleeping is fine, but no funny business." I nodded. "No problem." Then I turned over and snuggled into his covers. When he came back after drying his hair, he saw me sleeping obediently in bed. He thought I was asleep and turned off the light. The second he turned off the light, a sly smile spread across my face. After he lay down, I turned over and hugged his waist. I even nuzzled his chest. He laughed in exasperation, hugging my waist and pulling me up a little. "Got some bad ideas, do you?" I mumbled yes and tilted my head up to kiss his lips. Before long, little William reacted. I slipped a small square into William's palm. "William." He patted my lower back. "Clara, you're not giving up, are you?" "Nope." He leaned down and kissed my lips. "You only brought one?" I froze, then quickly pulled a few more out of my pocket for him. He counted the number in his hand. He let out a soft tsk. "A little greedy, aren't we?" I moved closer to him. "William, don't be scared. I'll definitely take responsibility for you." I hadn't even finished speaking. My lips were sealed. The world spun, and I was pinned beneath him. His large hand expertly slid under my clothes. He kissed me too fiercely. I couldn't handle it and let out a couple of whimpers. He only released me when I was on the verge of suffocating. I hadn't even taken 2 breaths before my breathing was cut off again. Slowly, everything spiraled out of control. In the middle of the night, a groggy William carried me to the bathroom. After cleaning me up, he carried me back to my bed. When I woke up, it was already broad daylight. William was asleep next to me. My leg was a little numb from being pinned. I had just started to shift, trying to pull my leg out, when the hand on my waist tightened. The man's brow furrowed slightly, his eyes still closed. His voice was low and hoarse. "Babe, don't move." I pouted. "My leg is asleep." The next second, his large hand moved to my leg. He massaged it gently. "Still numb?" The pins and needles feeling slowly subsided. I shook my head. He buried his head in my neck and kissed me. I pushed him away, a little scared. "I want to get up." William chuckled softly. "Babe, it's still early. How about we do some morning exercises?" His words were a question, but his actions had no hint of inquiry. In the end, my conclusion was this. You don't mess with a man in the morning, especially one who's just had a taste of something sweet. Not long after, William came to my house to make things official. For some reason, my mom had a sudden change of heart. She became incredibly easy to talk to. She was all smiles with William. William was very pleased with himself about this. I was right. Turns out, William's dad and my mom were just in a business partnership. The rumors about them getting married were just to create buzz for He Corporation's IPO and its expansion overseas. As for why William's dad agreed to the fake romance, the reason probably wasn't just the huge financial incentive. You'd have to ask the cunning William himself. But that guy was as stubborn as a mule. No matter how I tried, I couldn't get it out of him. It wasn't until the engagement party. William's dad had a few too many drinks and started talking. Clara, let me tell you, back when that kid got dumped by you, he hid in his room and cried for 2 days. I never thought that lawless brat would have a day where he was completely wrapped around someone's finger. And not long after you came back to the country, that kid came to me, crying his eyes out, begging me to go and propose a marriage alliance with the Wilson family. But your mom said that while she could make decisions on other things, marriage is very important for a girl, and you had to choose for yourself. Your mom said a marriage alliance was off the table, but we could talk about a partnership between the Wilson and Smith families. I figured that was fine. But now I'm still a little heartbroken about that piece of land I gave up. As he spoke, he even pouted aggrievedly. I smiled slyly at William beside me. He cleared his throat. He picked up a chicken wing and put it on my plate. He's making things up. Did you really beg Uncle Smith with tears streaming down your face? He looked at me with an unreadable expression. I didn't. But last night, someone was certainly begging me with tears streaming down her face. I shot him an annoyed glare.